The convenience store on the edge of Route 17 always felt lonelier after dark. Fluorescent lights hummed above empty aisles, and the automatic doors stayed locked once the clock crossed midnight. Emily Carter, barely 20, wiped down the counter with slow, tired movements. College textbooks sat in her backpack under the register, reminders of a life that felt far away during these late shifts. Tonight had been quiet, too quiet. Outside, the parking lot was empty except for 3 motorcycles parked near the back, their chrome reflecting the harsh white lights. Emily glanced at them again, uneasy. The riders had come in earlier, bought coffee, and headed toward the back restroom area. They looked intimidating, leather jackets, heavy boots, patched vests, but they'd been polite, nodding silently. She assumed they had left through the side exit. When the store phone rang, breaking the silence, she jumped. It was her manager reminding her to lock up soon. Emily breathed out, ready for another long walk to her car alone. She had just flipped the sign to "closed" when the front door rattled. 3 young men stood outside, laughing loudly. One knocked hard on the glass. "Hey, we just need drinks," he shouted. Emily shook her head, pointing at the sign. The men exchanged looks, then one kicked the door lightly, testing it. Her stomach tightened. She stepped back, hand hovering near the panic button under the counter. Through the glass, she saw their smiles fade into something darker. One of them circled around to the side entrance. A moment later, the door creaked open. Emily froze. She hadn't locked it yet. The men walked in like they owned the place, spreading out, blocking her path to the back. "Relax," one said, leaning over the counter. "We're not here to rob you." His eyes told a different story. Another whistled softly, looking her up and down. Emily's heart hammered so loudly she was sure they could hear it. She tried to stay calm, her voice barely steady. "The store's closed. I can't sell anything." The tallest one laughed. "We're not asking." He reached across the counter, fingers brushing her wrist. Emily pulled back sharply, fear flashing into anger, then back into fear. She thought of her mom waiting for her call, of the empty parking lot, of how thin the walls felt. Her hand slipped under the counter, searching for the panic button without looking. Behind them, unseen, a door at the back of the store opened silently. The bikers had been there the whole time. Jack, the oldest, had noticed the change in the air the moment the voices turned cruel. He caught the eyes of the other 2, Miguel and Ryan, and they didn't need words. They moved slowly, deliberately, boots quiet against the tile. Years on the road had taught them when to stay invisible and when to step in. Emily gasped when a shadow fell across the floor behind the thugs. One of the men sensed it and turned. His grin vanished. 3 bikers stood there, broad-shouldered, faces calm but unreadable. The patches on their vests marked a local riding club known around town. Not criminals, but not people you messed with either. Jack spoke softly, his voice low and steady. "Is there a problem here?" The thugs stiffened. The tallest tried to laugh it off. "Nah, man, we're just talking." Jack stepped closer, close enough that the man had to tilt his head back to meet his eyes. "Doesn't look like talking," Jack said. Miguel moved to Emily's side without touching her, placing himself between her and the counter. Ryan stood by the door, arms crossed. The room felt smaller, heavier, charged. One of the thugs muttered a curse and took a step back. The bravado drained from them quickly. Jack didn't raise his voice or threaten them. He didn't have to. "Store's closed," he said. "You should leave." For a second, Emily feared they wouldn't. Then the shortest one grabbed his friend's arm. "Let's go," he whispered urgently. Chairs scraped, and the 3 men backed away, eyes darting, before turning and hurrying out into the night. The door slammed shut, the sound echoing. Emily's knees gave out, and she gripped the counter to stay standing. Miguel gently placed a bottle of water in front of her. "You okay?" he asked, his voice surprisingly kind. She nodded, then shook her head, tears spilling over. Jack waited, giving her space. "You did the right thing," he said. "They rely on fear. You didn't give it to them." When Emily could finally breathe again, she thanked them over and over. Jack smiled faintly. "Just make sure you lock that side door next time." He walked her through it, showing her the safety checklist, making sure the panic button worked. Ryan stepped outside to check the parking lot while Miguel stayed with her, talking about school, about how his sister had worked night shifts too. The fear slowly loosened its grip. A police cruiser arrived after Emily finally pressed the alarm. The officers took statements, nodding respectfully at the bikers. One of them recognized Jack. "Appreciate you guys," the officer said. Jack shrugged. "Just being decent." When it was time to leave, the bikers waited until Emily's ride arrived. She watched them start their engines, the low rumble filling the night, and felt something she hadn't expected: safe. Weeks later, Emily still thought about that night. She transferred to earlier shifts, but the memory stayed with her, not just the fear, but the moment when strangers stepped in without hesitation. She learned that courage didn't always look loud or heroic. Sometimes it looked like three quiet men who stayed behind, watched closely, and chose to act. Every time she heard a motorcycle pass by the store, she smiled, reminded that kindness can come from the most unexpected protectors.